Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Aquarius July 2023 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for soul illumination. So hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lauren, and this reading is meant to take a look at the energy for the month ahead. So we are going to be looking, Aquarius, at first what you're bringing to the month. Then we're looking at what Spirit would like you to really embrace, a theme, and then also kind of grow into something by the end of the month to really help you bring in a blessing and overcome a challenge or a block that you'll be facing. So we'll dive into all of those in the reading. I will be pulling clarifiers as well as some oracle cards and advice from Spirit towards the end. So Aquarius, let's jump right in and see what you can expect for the month of July. I hope you all had a great June. June was kind of a portal catalytic month for all of us. It was kind of a month where we got to really release the old and come out as almost like the new butterfly version of ourselves as we move into July. Now, just to give a heads up, July can be it might be a little bit of a faster pace maybe than June for a lot of us. We do have Leo going retrograde. I'm sorry, Venus in Leo going retrograde on July 22nd. It will be in that sign retrograding until almost October. So there is a lot towards the end of the month that we may be looking at kind of reassessing our values when it comes to what we love and how we want to kind of openly show that out into the world. Now, we have the Queen of Wands as your energy, which I absolutely love, Aquarius, for you. This is what you're bringing into the month of July, which is great. It's this fiery, passionate energy. I like to refer to this card to her as kind of the witch archetype in the tarot, but she is someone who really blooms where she is planted. If she wants to go out on the town, she takes herself out. She's not somebody who's going to wait around for a friend to give her a call to say, hey, do you want to go out? She's going to just show up as herself, and she brings her own magic no matter where she is. Now, in your kind of what Spirit's asking you really to take a look at, what's being highlighted for you this month, and what you're really probably a big question you're going to be answering for yourself this month is where, as this new kind of fiery version of yourself is emerging, what is no longer emotionally supporting that? Because the Eight of Cups speaks to walking away from something that you've probably invested quite a bit of your emotional self into it, but now it's time to kind of face the music and say this something in my life is no longer emotionally supporting me. It's supporting this new passionate, fiery version of myself, and it's time for me to walk away towards what I know will be more emotionally fulfilling. And that can even be, I always like to see the Eight of Cups almost as walking away from something towards the Two of Cups, which is connection to a deeper, more authentic connection to others, and possibly a fated or destined relationship that's going to really help us bring in the Ten of Cups, which is the true kind of ultimate heart's fulfillment. So in your underlying energy, we have justice. So that's kind of another main theme here. I think kind of looking at balance in your life, looking at possibly even contracts. And underneath that, we have the Lovers and strength. So there is something here around either balancing what you love in your life, or working with the energy of a relationship and possibly looking at a change in a contract around a relationship. Now, with strength in the Lovers, this does speak to there may have been some hardship. There may have been some difficulty, either past or present, and it might have felt like a struggle for you to either follow your heart or to commit to a relationship. But there's something here now around with justice coming in, that kind of contractual commitment, or even possibly the balancing out now of bringing what you love into your life, if that's something that has been kind of long held back from you. So I'm going to jump right in here now. We're going to pull kind of the heart of your reading. We're going to look at where that challenge or block is coming in. We're going to then look at advice from Spirit as to really how to overcome that. And then we're going to look at the blessing that's waiting to come in for you. So let's see here. We have the Princess of Wands, which in this deck is the Page of Wands. We have the Nine of Swords, and then we have the Eight of Wands at the heart of your reading. So with the Page of Wands coming up next to the Nine of Swords here, this is your main challenge. There's fear around kind of going out there with a curious sense of working with your passion. I mean, the Queen of Wands, she is that kind of passionate, firebranded energy. But the Page of Wands is a little more curious. She's a little less, how can I say it? Maybe a little less practiced or versed in working with her passions. She's someone, the pages are usually those who they have almost more of like a childlike energy, where they might come across as a little naive, or they might come across as just not as well versed as the queen or king with the same energy. So there's something here perhaps where it's almost like this kind of more naive version of yourself wants to go out there. I always look at the princess or the Page of Wands as like the playful child, but yet there's something here around this where there's a lot of worry, a lot of overthinking with the Nine of Swords coming in. And with the Eight of Wands, this is advice from Spirit. This is the energy that Spirit really wants you to embrace this month and kind of dive into, which is forward movement. It's communication as well. There is something here around, you have a lot of wands. And now the Queen of Wands is very adept at handling the Eight of Wands. She's someone who's like, yeah, I can get a move on it. I can go for that. I can, it's almost like there might be a lot of things coming in and it might feel a little chaotic this month, but she has the ability to kind of hold up her wand and direct all of those wands, if that makes sense. She is the one who is mastering that element. So there's a little bit of that feeling here of really kind of having to, I think, maybe get a little out of your fear point here around maybe that you might look, it's almost like, this is kind of what I'm picking up intuitively. There's a fear around almost like taking out your magic wand that's been in the box for a long time. And you're like, oh shoot, all this stuff is happening. I see all the other wands that I know like my wand can control. And yet there's a fear of if I pull out my wand and I'm rusty, or I'm a little not as well practiced as I thought I was, that, something might happen, that it might not go the way I want, or that I might not be seen the way that I want, something along those lines. And so there's a little bit of this saying, no, it's okay. There is a lot of movement this month, and it says go with it. Show up as your authentic self. Bring your wand, your magic wand of passion. It's kind of one of those things where it's like pack that wand or unpack that wand and take it with you wherever you go. Because I think it's going to really help you navigate either quick communications. I mean, this could even be where other people are coming in to communicate to you and say, hey, I'd love to meet up with you. I'd love to see what you're passionate about. And this is not a month to hide. Let's put it that way. Because, okay, yes. So on the other side of the Eight of Wands, we have the Five of Pentacles and Judgment. Bottom of the deck, this is your secondary underlying energy. We have the King of Pentacles. So there is a focus here on the physical, a focus on value, what you value in the physical, but also your own self-value. There's a sense here of kind of grounding a little bit of what you love, the strength that's taken to get to where you are today, but taking a look at that through the lens of action, passion, and movement. So this is one of those things where it's like, well, what are you doing? What are you actually doing this month? It's about really taking a look at asking yourself the question, does it fuel my fire? If I choose to do this, does it fuel my fire? And this may be a month for some of you where you literally, like, let's say if you're looking for a new job or you've been thinking about it, this can be that month where someone comes in with that opportunity and you're like, but I don't know if I'm ready to do that because I might look silly, or I might have to go down a step. I'm the queen, but I might have to go back to being a page. There's something along those lines here, Aquarius. Because on the other side of that, we have the Five of Pentacles, which is facing a fear around kind of like that limiting mindset that if I pursue something, I'm going to lose out on money. If I try to take a new job, I might be the one left out in the cold at the end of the day because it might not pan out, or this is kind of that mindset of I might not ever make as much as I'm making today. When instead you could flip that around and say, well, what if you could make 28 times the amount of money that you're making today? If you would just bring out your magic wand, bring out your passion. This is also a card, again, of feeling kind of left out in the cold, that if I show this part of myself and others might see it in a way that is not positive, or they might see me as unpolished, or they might see me as not the queen that I am, but they see me more as the page, then again, I might be left out in the cold. They might turn their backs on me. I might not make enough, that kind of thing. And then we have judgment coming in here afterwards. And this is the blessing that's trying to come in. Judgment is a change, a big fundamental change in your life experience. And this has been coming out for quite a bit for many of the signs as I've been doing readings over the past couple months, where there's this fundamental something has happened in your life. And for many of us, that can be very scary. Like, we don't want to actually face that we have to become a different person. Now that there has been a change, and I don't mean that with judgment that it like literally you have to, I don't know what, go from being a child to an adult, like change that much. I mean, it's like there can be a small change that happens from one day to the next, but that it alters your entire experience, meaning from one day to the next, you could not be married and not have ever been married. And then from the next day after that, you go and you get married and you have that reception and the ceremony. And then the following day, you are someone who is now married. You are now contractually obligated to another individual in your life. And suddenly that is a massive change when you think about it, even from one day to the next. But it isn't like you've changed career paths and you had to move to a new location. It's literally just from one day to the next. There, you signed on the dotted line, and that can be justice here. You made a contract, you made a commitment, but there's a real fear here around leaning into that change, embracing that change. Have you become a new parent? Have you become a grandparent? Did you graduate from college and now you're going into the working world? Have you retired? There's something here around that where it's saying it's time to embrace that change, because that is where the blessing wants to come in. The whole reason judgment happens is because we are being called up by the divine as a new version of ourselves, and that is kind of heralding forward our spiritual growth. And it's going to allow for many of you to really, I think, level up in utilizing something you're passionate about, or your own passion that maybe has kind of long been just internalized and not actually externalized. Because the pages also move things forward. They're not as fast moving as the knights per se, but they are an individual who goes out and is a seeker. They are curious, where the queen and the kings kind of sit on their thrones and they internalize, or they kind of dictate. So there's this feeling of kind of having to get back out there again. And that might seem scary. It might seem chaotic because here's all this stuff that has to get done, but it's saying you have everything within your wheelhouse to command the things that are coming in and to help control those. But there is a feeling here around, really, I think for many of you, tying in understanding your own self-value as tied to how much you work with your passions and how much you actually have, instead of worrying about them, how much faith do you have in them? How much faith do you have that the change in your life is meant to help unlock and grow this part of yourself more, and that it will not lead to the Five of Pentacles. Instead, it's going to show you what is no longer supportive emotionally of this new version of yourself. And now where can you start to capitalize in the physical as to what you're passionate about? Okay, I'm going to start to pull some clarifiers here, so we'll get a little deeper. So it's almost like as soon as you just really embrace, this is the change that happened, this is a new version of myself that is emerging, then what is no longer supportive of that? When we think of like a caterpillar going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. At one point in that caterpillar's life, he was on the ground, or he was climbing, he was able to crawl, but he wasn't able to fly. And so living on the ground, or living with, support in a way, let's say finding a nice tree or a rock to kind of be under and to provide that security. Well, once the butterfly becomes a free flying creature, living on the ground is no longer going to be emotionally supportive of the fact that that butterfly now has wings and is meant to fly, is meant to discover new places, is meant to migrate if they're a migrating species. So, it's one of those things where it's almost like that there's this realization of, okay, if I just embrace my passion, if I embrace what's happening, maybe even the communication that's, leading to me really looking at this, can I really just take a look at realizing it's time to move? It's time, 8 of Wands, this is embracing it. It's time to move. It's time to get off the throne, and it's time to get out there and start moving towards what I love, what I've made a commitment to. And that's going to show me what no longer supports me, what it's time to walk away from this month. Okay. And, when we think about, emotionally walking away from something, it doesn't mean that we have to physically get up and move to a new location. But this could be that maybe for some of you in the work environment, you're realizing, oh my gosh, the work environment supported the caterpillar version of myself, but it no longer supports the butterfly version of myself. This would be like if all of a sudden you get married and now you have a family to support. Well, maybe where you've always worked is a place that's never going to give you enough money to be able to now support the family that you want to have or grow. And then the realization of that is like, okay, well then now it's time for me to go out and start to, communicate that, hey, I'm looking for a new job. And that might mean that you might have to kind of go back to maybe learning new things. But it doesn't mean that still inside you don't have a good skill set to work with your passions or what you're passionate about. This could also just be walking away from a habit that, again, you've outgrown. This can be where you always used to go to the bars every night and go out and network. And that at one point in your experience helped you get to a certain level, maybe, again, in that networking, or it was, providing you with emotional support through friend groups and things like that. But now maybe something in your life has changed, and now you can't go out and stay out like that anymore. Now you need to go to bed early because you have maybe now at this point you just got made partner in your law firm, and now it's time to work those long, hard hours. And so it's having to adjust that and realizing, those people no longer support me because they're in a different place than I am. There's something along those lines here coming through very strongly. Okay, so for the Princess of Wands, Page of Wands, we have a 5 of Cups. This is really looking at past disappointments, and really I think that can be the main fear here too, about kind of going out as this new version of yourself. It almost might feel like the awkward butterfly, that's just finally discovering it has wings, and it's like, oh my gosh, and well, what if I try to fly and I I fail the first time? I open my wings and I try to show everybody and I don't flap them correctly, And with the Sun and the 5 of Cups, I think there's a big emphasis, a big illumination around where you've been holding yourself back for some time, you've been holding your own magic back for some time because of the pain of the past, because there may have been a support group that fell through, whether it was familial, whether it was friendship groups, whether it was even work-based. This can be where something comes in on that level and, it falls apart. Because it really does, the 5 of Cups always usually shows the 3 of Cups spilled over, which the 3 of Cups as its own card really represents community. It represents the people that you can feel that you can freely be celebrated with and come to celebrate them as well. But yet there's always the 2 of Cups kind of behind, just out of sight of the individual. And it's showing that you've always had that connection to another in your life who was there to support you through this. So it's kind of almost like the illumination of where, when you tried to show this version of yourself, maybe in the past, people did either make fun of you, or they turned their back on you, or they just weren't as supportive as you were hoping. And it's saying that is where the fear is coming in. That's where the the overthinking is coming in. And then, yeah, then we have the Ten of Wands. This is that feeling of carrying a heavy burden. It's a feeling of I have to do it all myself. And I think for many of you, there's this realization that with the Two of Cups there, you actually don't have to do it all yourself. There's someone else in your experience now who's there to support you through this. And we have the Hierophant and the Emperor. I think, I can say here for some of you with the Hierophant and the Emperor, this can be where there's been a power struggle in a marriage. The Hierophant can speak to institutions that we choose to follow and adhere to, and one of those is the institution of marriage. With the Emperor coming in, this is the energy of kind of an Aries Taurus individual who's a little stubborn, who's a little, my way or the highway. And this could be where, if this is in work, this can be where maybe you felt you've been battling with someone who kind of is like, it's my way or the highway, and maybe you are the one that has to do all the work yourself. This is in a relationship. This can be where there's been someone who has been very authoritative in that relationship. And I think for many of you, there may be this fear of like, I want to go out and just have fun and explore the new version of myself and explore my new wings, but you're worried about this authoritative figure in your life and how there has maybe been a commitment to them, and that commitment has now become a burden. Whether this is a commitment, again, to a work environment, a boss, or a commitment to a romantic partnership in your life. This could even be a parent. Sometimes we commit to, or a family member that we commit to someone in our family. But there is something here where it's like you want to be free, but you're worried about this authoritative figure and the commitment you have with them and the burden you've carried because of that. Okay. Let's see, Eight of Wands. So there's that Three of Cups. There's that support. There's the support upright. This may be where there are either this month people coming, like new community group. Okay, so I just saw the Two of Cups, but it kind of ducked back in. So let's see if it wants to come out. Something came out there. Eight of Coins. Okay, I like that. Okay, so yes, Eight of Coins. This is dedicated, focused, building something. It's perfecting something in the physical. This can be like taking a course and really understanding a skill. This can also just be kind of doing something step by step where you just put your head down and you just keep doing it. It's like almost like doing it through repetition. But I think here for some of you, there could actually be movement around kind of support coming in for something you've been building, a skill set you've been working on for some time. And that might be the big shakeup here, where it's like, okay, I've been working on, this could even be like where you have been developing maybe a new skill set off to the side. Maybe you've been like, you have just a little side hustle, you've been working on something, you've built the website already and all of that. But you kind of been like, okay, yeah, but I'm beholden to the commitment I've made to my 9 to 5. And I want to go out there and have fun, but I'm worried because if I go out there and show myself, the community at work or my family community might look at me and go, what are you doing? Like, this is what you've been working on? Like, you're going to leave your 9 to 5 to do this? And I think for many of you, what you don't realize is that it'll be more celebrated than you think. So if you do want to make forward momentum, and this can actually be with the Eight of Wands. This could be somebody saying like, kudos, I see what you're doing. I celebrate that. And I want in on that. I want to help you do something here. Or this could just simply be that, again, you're dealing with all this fast moving energy. You're choosing to initiate something. And all of a sudden the support comes in and says, bravo, we're here. What do you need? Kind of thing. And suddenly that fear of not being supported is actually kind of overridden by the fact that there's this kind of hidden support coming through. And that might help kind of, I do feel with the Eight of Wands that there's been a block for some time for forward movement, that you guys might have kind of gotten into some stagnant energy. And there may be a community here who might even help you see kind of like what the next piece in that puzzle is as you're trying to, build something here. I mean, Aquarius, you are a fixed air sign. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart, so I know what being a fixed sign is all about, and we can get stuck in our ways at times. So for the Five of Pentacles, you have the Five of Wands. Yeah, there's a fear around lack and a little bit of chaos. Yeah, and the Ten of Swords. I see. Okay. Yeah, the Ten of Swords is when we've gone through a point in our life that really brought us to our knees. It was a difficult time, something that just, it almost felt like really like the 10th sword in my back. Like, what else can you, like, it's overkill. It's that feeling. And with the Five of Wands, I think there was this level of kind of a combativeness, chaos, you know, kind of having to go out there and there are too many cooks in the kitchen, too much stuff going on. Or this can literally be where you tried to kind of go out into that. You know, maybe you were dealing a lot with a very like highly competitive space, and it led to you getting to a point where you kind of broke down, where it was like just too much. You know, this can be when we are in a very, you know, when we think about any type of high stress job where you're like getting out, like my brother always says, grinding. It's like where you're grinding and it's just like, oh my God, it brought you to your knees. And maybe it did impact your bottom line. You know, maybe this is where you had to walk away from a career path that just got to be too stressful for yourself, or you had to walk away from something due to just feeling like you had been in too much of a high stress environment, no matter what it was. It might not have even been work. This could even be a home environment where there was just too much chaos going on in the house. And you're like, oh my God, I have to get out of here. And suddenly you're kind of out on the streets having to find your own way. But either way, there's a fear tied directly to that with loss, or that people in your life like literally will close doors in your face and you will not have that support because of a time in your life where you really went through that kind of energy. And yet here comes judgment saying, not this time, you're a new version of yourself. You have new wings. It's time to see what they can do. Queen of Cups, I love that. This is mother, like the unconditionally loving mother energy. For some of you, you may have become a new mother, which congratulations if that's the case. You may have someone in your life who's coming in to really be that individual in your life. There could be a Cancer coming in, which is also what the Queen of Cups speaks to, a Cancerian energy. But let's see here. And Two of Swords. The Queen of Cups can also represent self-care. Can also represent really holding what's in your cup sacred to you and loving that. Meaning what's in your cup is everything you have to emotionally connect as your unique spiritual self to your life experience. So these are the needs that you need to express and have met. These are the dreams you need to dream and pursue. These are the hopes for the future version of yourself you need to nurture. So there's a feeling here of kind of maybe being on the fence around choosing yourself and your own self-care versus maybe being beholden to an emperor in your life, which again is an authoritative figure who's maybe called the shots for some time, and you have been in a contractual agreement with them that has now become a heavy burden to bear. And it's time for you to put all of this down. It's time to choose yourself, Aquarius. That's really what's coming through here. The judgment, the change has come in so that you choose yourself. And when you think about choosing yourself, something is going to be very much highlighted to you that, again, is not in support of this new self. And then we have the High Priestess as another underlying energy here. The High Priestess is that deep knowing, that deep connection to your intuition. And it also speaks to kind of quietly having made a decision already. That means that you kind of know what you know. But it can also mean that you're hiding that, or that you're not ready to come out and share that decision yet. But I think for many of you, you have made that decision. There's this deep internal knowing of, I know something's changed. I've been kind of avoiding it because of the fear of how someone in my life is going to react to this. But ultimately, I need to choose me. Okay, so let's go ahead here, Aquarius, and see let's go ahead here and get a little more advice. So I'm pulling an energy oracle card here to get a better idea of what the energy of the month will look like for you, Aquarius. Okay, so we have first chakra, Archangel Michael, number 35, which breaks down to the number 8. Now, the first chakra is all about addressing your fear points. The first chakra, when it's in a healthy alignment, is where we feel safe and secure, and we move forward as a very strong version of ourselves. You know, kind of when we think of the fire element, you know, and the wands and everything. These are the Queen of Wands would be someone who has a very healthy sense, a very healthy first chakra. Now, an individual who does not have a healthy first chakra is someone who lives from a place of fear. They act out instinctually out of kind of a self-preservation instinct, where they might kind of act. They might be kind of clinging too much to something because they're afraid, because there is fear there instead of a healthy sense of self. So this would be a very good month. And now with 35 breaking down to the number 8 is the number of personal empowerment, of empowered leadership. It's also one of physical abundance. But for many of you, I think this is a month to really take a look at your first chakra, look at issues that you might have around safety and security and fear, especially with the Five of Pentacles coming in, around kind of being left out in the cold or people turning their backs on you, and get to that place of kind of that healthy sense of strength coming in, the healthy sense of the courageous self, of saying, what do I need to make myself feel secure? What do I need to make myself feel like I don't have to fear something? How can I get to a place of a healthy sense of myself and what I'm capable of? And, I would recommend for those of you who are into working with vibrational frequencies and sound healing, sound therapy, really looking up the different frequencies that align to the first chakra, that align to your root chakra. Because even sometimes just listening to those during meditation really can help highlight and kind of bring up and out anything that needs to be kind of cleared that's stuck in that space for you. Archangel Michael is also a very powerful angelic being to work with. Whether or not you believe, in angels or in angelic beings, it's more about the concept of what he represents. And Archangel Michael is someone who is very powerful. He holds his sword of truth, and he is able to kind of move forward courageously, even through battle if needed, holding his sword of truth and holding to that. There's a clarity there and a very much a victorious energy with Archangel Michael. Aquarius, I'm hearing, I can do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. All right, I'm going to pull some clarifiers to see if anything else for this card wants to come out. Okay, yep. So then we have strength again. Here's the King of Pentacles and here's Judgment. Yeah, I think for many of you, there's this really big block around the material, around also owning your self-worth, specifically with the King of Pentacles coming in here, because the King of Pentacles really speaks to, he's the individual who understands his self-worth, his value, kind of what it's worth on the open market. But there may be also a transformation of this energy for you, that maybe in the past, that authoritative figure in your life or the commitment you made that became a heavy burden was all around the physical. And maybe now your relationship to the physical is changing. This can be where you are looking at, maybe, wow, I am worth more someplace else. Or it's the realization of, if I follow my passion, I might be able to actually make more money. I might be working with my value in a better way. It can also be for some of you where there's this, I'm trying to kind of like grasp it, because it's like clear and unclear at the same time. And that might be this two of swords over here, this indecision, where it's almost like you're trying to choose, do I choose my own self-care and what supports my heart and my emotional self, or do I choose focusing on the physical? And for some of you, you might have been the one that maintained the physical for a long time. This could be where you, again, worked at a job and you held it down just so that you could make the money and put it away and that kind of stuff. And maybe now there's a change. You're realizing, wow, what did that get me except stress and pain and still me having loss on some level. Or this is where some of you now are being called up to have the strength to embrace the energy of the King of Pentacles, to say you can build something new. This would be like maybe where you are looking to maybe go out on your own and embrace your own business or a side hustle now. And it's saying the judgment, the change in your experience is that you are no longer the person just working on something, trying to get better. It's that you are the person now who understands their self-worth, who can go out there and capitalize on it. But you've also mastered how to, what do you call that? Prioritize. You've mastered how to work with your physical experience. And, the King of Pentacles, yes, he's a king, but he doesn't have to be sitting in a castle. It's just someone who has the strength to really be able to manifest and manage their time, manage what they want to come into the physical. And they have a great grasp of being able to do that. It's really grasping what is of value to you. And, when you think of the butterfly, there's a new set of values for that butterfly now in the physical. That butterfly is maybe not going to value the same type of food as the caterpillar. The caterpillar wanted to eat leaves. The butterfly needs to drink nectar. So now there's a repositioning, a reprioritization of what the king is going to focus on, or the butterfly is going to focus on in the physical. That is going to be more supportive of itself, even on an emotional level. Because if that butterfly keeps trying to eat those leaves, that is going to be very unsatisfying, possibly to the detriment of not only its spiritual self, but its physical self. So keep that in mind here. There's something around that. There's something coming in here around really realizing, again, just how much you have changed, and how much what you value in the physical will change because of that, and having the strength to accept that. It could also be the reverse where, maybe like for some of you, you might be valuing things less and valuing physical things less and valuing more your what brings you an emotional connection and emotional satisfaction, and what supports your fire. For others, this may be the opposite, where it's almost like you need to combine all of this to realize, if something has changed, like you're responsible for a family, that maybe now it's like realizing, I can make more. Now my whole value, like what I used to value, was my time. And because I was a single person, my time when I could go on vacations and travel, that was of value to me. That's what I prioritized. But now that I have a family and we're looking to move into a new home and we're looking to expand on that level, what I value is now, where can I make more money so that I can save for that house? Or maybe now it could even be the opposite. Where can I change jobs so that I have more time to be with my family? Like there's something along that here for you, Aquarius. So the key is looking at where you've changed, or what has changed in your life fundamentally, and then how that is going to be changing what you value. And that is going to be a big deal, just like I said at the start of your reading, with Leo, or with Venus going retrograde in Leo on July 22nd. This is going to be a big push to really it's like almost like the universe saying it's time to reestablish what you value and to work from that place. And that's going to be the big spotlight saying, this way is where this is the way to healing and self-love. And possibly to balance. Justice is the card of balance. So there could be some major thing in your life shifting, a major theme or energy in your life that is coming into balance. But you have to kind of go through this whole process of realization first. Oh, I love it. It says surrender to receiving support and love. And yes, that really was coming through with the Three of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles coming in with the Eight of Wands. It says allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. And this says that there is someone in your life who is ready to be that person, the other, the Two of Cups. And I think this, for many of you, could be that you're choosing the Two of Cups. You're choosing to walk away from a life that maybe did not support or involve this other person, this other cup, or this community that wants to come in for you. And now you're realizing that it's there and it's time to turn your back on this and reprioritize and focus on this emotional reconnection to either someone in your life or something that, again, is now more emotionally supportive of the new you. Okay, and I'm going to pull a final card here, Aquarius, for the month, and then I'll read the excerpt that comes in the book with this deck. So let's see, what does Aquarius need to know for this month? Yeah. For some of you, this could even literally be making the choice to become a mother, with the Queen of Cups coming in here. So just, keep that in mind. If that's the case, well, congratulations. And that's going to really show you what it's time to walk away from. Okay. Yeah, mother, becoming a grandma, like anything that really is focusing on, becoming a nurturer of others. So we have third ray of creative intelligence, which is number 3. I love this. And then look at all those butterflies. I don't think that could be more in alignment with this reading. It's like, here you are, the new butterfly. And I love the number 3. It's actually one of my favorite numbers. It really speaks to creativity. It speaks to divinity. And it also speaks to the beauty of, when we choose to greet life with the innocence of a child. And there's that, child coming out here. All right. So let's see. We have the third ray of creative intelligence brings the gift of practical spirituality and develops the talent for grounding inspired creativity into the world. It empowers your manifestation. This ray brings many gifts, including new ideas and the practical support needed to bring them to life, the ability to organize, make connections and networks, and synthesize information from various sources into one coherent whole. And that really is, talk about all 3 of these cards coming in the middle here, the 8 of Wands, the 3 of Cups, and the 8 of Pentacles. That is synthesizing. That is the movement with the support, with the practical means to build something, to make something come together. It says, Archangel Chamuel helps you receive this gift from the universe with love and intelligence. It says the third ray of creative intelligence will help you gain practicality to organize and manifest an idea or vision in the world. That's you directing all these wands, right? You have that ability with your wand to bring this all together. It says it gives you the drive and the means to implement your plans. When this ray is active in our lives, we want to take action, bring something to life, not just to know or feel, but to do. With this oracle comes a message about taking action and believing that even the most inspired and spiritual ideas can have practical purpose to the world. Your visions and ideas can and should be worked with so they can manifest. I'm going to read one more. It says, you must believe in your capability and competence, your confidence and practical, down-to-earth common sense, even if these are not always your strongest qualities. If you doubt your ability to achieve all that you dream of, remember that sometimes the universe puts dreams in our hearts to help us develop strengths that are dormant within us. This can bring to life a whole slew of abilities and talents we didn't know we had. We are given nudges in life to discover what we are made of, which can be so much more than we might have initially believed. Beautiful. I think for many of you, you're on the cusp, again, of just really discovering that you're the butterfly and really realizing that something in your life is ready to change because of that. There's something new that really needs to be brought into alignment to support this new version of yourself. And you may have a dream in your heart and you may be scared to follow it. And it's saying this dream is going to support the new butterfly version of yourself in the pursuit of it, in sharing it with others. And you're being gifted with the King of Pentacles energy and the High Priestess. Again, the deep knowing with the ability to manifest it in the physical. And that's going to allow you to finally, I think, come to peace with what it's time to walk away from and really make the changes in the physical that need to happen. All right, I will leave it there, Aquarius. I hope you all have a great month of July where you really make that shift and honor the butterfly that has emerged. If you'd like to book a personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I do post a weekly collective reading, generally on Sunday evenings or Mondays, and then I do follow that up with a mini quick reading for each sign for the week as well. If you'd like to take a look at those or be notified when those come out, you can subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate that. And if you would like to like or comment on any of my videos, including this one, that is also something I greatly appreciate and would invite you to do. All right, Aquarius, I will see you next month for your next illumination reading. Bye.